go. Of course. Hey, everybody. I'm trying to hit the non-repeat button.
Need to put a little more silence at the end of that.
Someday I'm going to run into an Apple software engineer and I'm just going to beat the living hell out of him. Just for no good reason.
Get in line.
Beat them. Hey, everybody. Welcome.
We do not condone violence of any sort on this show. Lawyer just called. I've got a call. Yeah, okay. Yep, I'll tell him. Yep.
Don't threaten violence against random.
Especially not against a high-powered represented group.
Well, welcome to What Drives Us, the peaceful, calm show that never threatens anyone's bodily integrity. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host for this episode, and this episode is Formula 409. Thank you, episode 409 for Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. Let me introduce this amazing panel and let's get this show on the road. My co-host and friend in Chicago, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, we got a good show lined up, and that's all I got. It's just having a good day.
There we go. My other co-host and favorite workout video producer, amongst other many talents, Georgia McKenzie.
Hey everyone, hope all are staying safe and sound.
That's what's important there, especially at the gym. Next up, my good friend, and of course, I just want to say this outright at the front. If he seems to be having any problems with this microphone, it's probably local to him, has nothing to do with anything here. Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, Russell and I might have a nice spirited debate today. We'll see how it goes, but it's lovely weather. It's been crazy weather. It was sunny, then it was drizzly, then it was rainy, then it hailed for a few minutes, and now it's sunny again. So I'm coming to you powered by the sunlight that happened earlier today, which I put in a battery.
Didn't you just describe like 270 days a year in Portland?
Yeah.
Okay. Just
spring
for
and
the
fall,
record.
all of them. Yeah.
I love Portland. I'm just saying.
Crazy weather. They're just trying to offer you a smorgasbord.
Yeah,
right.
It's a buffet.
If you don't like it, wait 10 minutes. Try that one.
Exactly. And next up, our friend, founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey everybody, and having a beer today. Surprise.
Nice.
Right. Did you actually have to buy that one, or did someone leave that one for you?
Someone left it. It's actually from Oregon. So
Right on.
yeah.
Nice.
Someone broke our rule. You're supposed to give us Colorado beers.
To watch out, Paul, the hail's coming shortly.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And let's see. Next up, our friend of the Mid-Atlantic region, our supercharger expert, Mr. Kacey Green.
What's going on? I've got some plans to go visit some superchargers coming up because I'm halfway there.
Is that all? Only half.
Well, I just got the first shot today, so only half.
Ah, there you go. Well, and last but not least, he is the host and founder of the Tesla Life Show, and he is Mr. Alt Car Electric Vehicle in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone, and I'm not going to hold this up because we got a ton of work to get done tonight, so let's go.
We do. And oddly enough, let's start with Mr. Kacey Green, who
Start with me, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to start with you.
I thought we'd start with you. All right.
I'm mixing it up.
All right. So, our friends over at Meijer, it's for those of you that don't know, it's a Midwest grocery chain. They have quite a few stores. They have entered into an open agreement with EVgo, which is one of the larger third-party EV charging networks out there. You might know them from their Tesla Chatamo adapters chained to the side of the enclosures, which was an ingenious solution and got them in through a lot less hot water than our friends at ChargePoint, who just integrated the thing into the machine and got them in a lot of hot water. So we don't know how many stations this is going to cover, but we do know that Meijer has over 250 grocery stores and that they have actually done EV charging in the past. So this is already right up their alley. And who doesn't like to refuel while they shop for groceries, and then just come out and everything is full, your belly and the car.
I stopped at a number of Meijer stores with my Tesla on my cross country journey, and they
Exactly.
had excellent superchargers.
Cool.
There
Yeah.
you go.
They're already
You go
wired
and
for
get
it.
a sandwich, Mark?
Yep, went in, got a chicken sandwich at one location, got some snacks, and was ready to go at the next location. So really good fit.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is the kind of, destination charge. We've always said, go to a movie or go to lunch or eat dinner. Well, if you're going to be parking your car and you're going to be shopping anyway, then yeah, top off, or charge, or whatever. You get your groceries, you come back a half an hour, 45 minutes later, and maybe you have a full tank. So
You definitely have a full tank. They're going to be 100
yeah.
kilowatts to 350 kilowatts installations.
Oh,
Wow.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
So,
and like
so
you said,
dial down
they
that 45 minutes to 25.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or come empty.
Get your food
Go
to
faster. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Like you said, they already have charging stations, so this is nothing new to them. So they already know how to run the copper. They already know where to put the stuff, and this is a bang bang win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I was excited to see that. So I wanted to share because it's very local to Mr. Schaefer.
Hmm.
It is indeed,
Yeah.
and it's good. Absolutely. Well, since we've taken that, let's switch to something that sometimes I kick off the show with, but I don't really, I feel like I'm kind of just I don't need to bogart the show, as the saying goes. So, Kacey's
I'll allow
story. As some of you who pay very close, like stalker-like attention to the show, and I don't know if there's any of you actually that do that, but you never know.
That's why Mark has to stay in his basement.
That too. I'm a delivery driver. I drive all day around North San Diego County. That's what I get paid to do. So I'm on the road all day long, which means I come into contact with lots of other people doing the very same thing. We have a road, a surface street here called El Camino Real. It's a big street in San Diego, and for a good portion of it, it's 3 to 4 lanes wide on each side. And it runs through La Costa, which is in fact where the story that I'm about to tell you takes place. I'm in the right lane, the second from right lane, and I'm proceeding through an intersection when suddenly a black Model 3 makes a right-hand turn onto my street and immediately comes into my lane. And yeah, I had to brake to not struck or be struck by the Model 3. Now, of course, being the person that I am, I had to accelerate. I had to see who was driving. You know who was driving, don't you? You know how the story ends, don't you?
Elon was driving.
Elon was driving. It was
Seriously?
It was Tesla Karen in her Model 3, and she wasn't driving. Now, anecdote is not data. Edge cases don't necessarily prove the rule. That said, why are we allowing a company to beta test something on our streets? Why? And that's it.
Why do we allow drunks on our streets?
Or distracted
We
drivers
don't
with phones.
allow drunks on our
But
streets.
we
We
do.
arrest
We
them
arrest
when we
those
find
people.
them, and
When
we
we find
jail
them.
them.
Oh, there's one now.
So Russell, if they're doing that kind of test where you are, you should get a dash cam installed on your car.
I've thought about bringing some of my cameras along, but you know what? No.
Just upgraded my dash cams again.
It's certainly
So-
thought more than a few times. Like I will admit, I am prejudiced. I see a Tesla. I wonder if the person is driving or not.
And you
Now,
have
I
no way of
know
knowing.
It's such a very small number, but keep in mind, there's a buttload of Teslas here in San Diego, and there's more than a few people, I'm sure, that are doing the beta testing.
Our friend Rich calls it the California Camry.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And just for the record, too, I did sort of pace this person for a couple of miles.
Okay.
And the hands off the steering wheel thing was persistent.
Yeah, they're
This
not supposed to be
wasn't just-
off the steering wheel. That's
This
not.
wasn't just a oopsie thing. This was someone's posture in the vehicle.
Yeah.
So they were just basically sitting back, relaxed.
You
Just
sure
letting
they
the car
weren't? You
drive.
sure they weren't gripping the wheel from the lower part?
Well, you know what? They could have been.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that's allowed.
Maybe not best practice for safety when you're driving.
No, it's really
that's
hard to
for
control
sure.
the car if it runs
Yeah.
over a pothole.
I'm so
or
glad someone
it
else
plays,
said that.
It plays
Thank
hot
you.
potato. It's like, here, you got the wheel. Oh crap! I
I
can't
can
steer it.
steer from
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
It like not paying attention and not having your hands on the wheel while you're beta testing FSD. Steering
you kicked
from your
out.
crotch is probably a bad practice.
Yeah, they kicked a couple of people out at the last revision of it because they were not being as safe as they should have been.
And what?
Yeah.
So I mean, we need to clarify. You don't know that this person was in the beta program.
I don't know
Right.
that. Yeah.
And
who
if they
knows?
were, you don't know if they were driving or not.
They maybe they jailbroke their Model 3 and they're using some third party off the shelf open source full self-driving.
Or maybe they were driving manually.
now-
It's a real crappy driver.
I think that's a
Right.
very real
Yeah.
possibility. Looking around here.
Yeah.
Never
There is-
underestimate
yeah.
psychic powers either. There's options, Russell.
There's options.
Right.
And when I say
Absolutely.
around here, I mean where I am staying, not the people in this room, this virtual room.
So speaking of the full self-drive and whatever, and Russell's experience, you reminded me of something I saw, and I'm trying to find Chuck Cook's YouTube channel of the unprotected left turn. So which one of you are?
See the one with the drone and the
yeah, with the drone. So
yeah,
which
that's
one of you
interesting.
is going to debunk that and call that driver's error?
the one where it was leisurely
The
making
one where the
lefts, or
Tesla
one where it
wanted
kept
to
trying to jump in
run
traffic.
out in traffic. Yeah.
Well, it's a beta. You're
Right, so-
you're teaching it not to kill people, including yourself.
At this point, it is still an ADAS, and so that means the driver's responsible. They're the person behind the
yeah.
wheel. It's their responsibility.
It was responsible, and after watching it 2 or 3 times, I thought for sure he was going to wet himself. The number of times he had to grab the wheel and slam on the brakes, I thought for sure he was just going to call the whole thing off. But he kept coming back for more. And
He's like, I'm gonna get this thing, darn it.
So yeah, Russell, if that person was or wasn't driving, we know that humans are just horrible drivers in general, and they're distracted. They're on their phones. They get drunk. They fall asleep. Whatever. And
Play
we
their
need to get to
phone,
level 5
take
as soon as
video.
possible. I'm not saying that means that we throw out crappy software and just call it good, but it does mean that we need to get to level 5 so that we can be have just much safer roads in general.
But the only way we can get there was
Dude.
billions and billions of training miles, and we can't
No,
wait on the companies to do that.
I don't think anyone's arguing with you on that one, Patrick. I mean, we need to get to that point. We need to make sure that everyone's safe. And I gonna bring it back to the thing that I know Russell and I keep saying is calling it full self-drive gives the idiots the misunderstanding that it is full self-drive, not the trademark, but the adjective.
when the CEO and face of the company repeatedly on television drives without his hands on the wheel, repeatedly on television, in the media, in newspapers, in magazines, and on social media,
He goes
says
like this,
it's going
and
to
then he
drive.
goes back to grabbing the wheel.
Hold on, it's going to drive across the country. All you have to do is hit summon, all
2
by
years ago.
itself. I'll give you that some people have some responsibility here, but not the main responsibility.
But when they call it, they say, "Hey, this is what we're going to name it," and then they say it's not done yet. Those two statements always go together. This is what it's called. It's not done yet.
That's called bullshit marketing. where we mislead you with a name that's appealing that everyone wants. We tell you stories about it, but it doesn't really do that. And the disclaimer says you have to keep your hands on the wheel and pay attention all the time.
Well, when it's done, supposedly you won't have to keep your hands on the wheel, but it's not done.
That's why it's called beta.
That's what beta means. It's not like Gmail beta.
I think we've had this discussion.
Is it an open beta? Because if it's an open
It's not an open beta yet.
Not an open beta.
It's a private beta.
Then it's being really poorly managed if you're going to see a lot of people. Well, I can't say if you're going to see a lot of people, but if it's not made abundantly clear that they will be responsible if their hands are not on the wheel.
Well, they're using the camera and they are kicking people out if their hands aren't on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So we're being told.
Allegedly.
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 You know what? I really didn't want to beat this dead horse because, as far as I'm concerned, this horse died quite some time ago.
I thought you got a ride in one of these things. I was super excited.
No, there's no
Yeah.
way
In the
in
land of the
hell I
California
would get
Camry.
in a Tesla with FSD engaged and the driver not paying attention. No way.
Why would they not be paying attention? They job number one is pay attention, hands on the wheel. So,
We've been over that though, right? Because lots of people don't pay attention.
but if you were in the passenger seat and some jackass takes his hand off the wheel while you're learning about the system, wouldn't you tell him, "Hey, stop that, let me out"?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it would have been cool, like for you to be either in that position,
Yeah, no,
or
it
even
wasn't-
better for them to put you behind the wheel. I think
I
that
almost
was
got
awesome.
mowed down at work. You know, that was really the impetus for this. The catalyst was, lady wanted to, her car was going to hit me. I got out of the way, and she just kept going on her merry way, like do down the road.
Unfortunately, as you said, you don't know if it was her or the car.
Yeah, mine today on the way to Tesla Parts to go retrieve this icebreaker. It was super cautious. Like a truck was not even drifting out of his lane. He was just on the paint, and my car's like, nope, and it just backed up and waited for that trailer to get out of the lane for a while because
At least,
it wasn't sure if he'd come back.
I know that if somebody in an actual Camry runs a stoplight and almost takes me out, I know at least the person is an idiot.
You don't, because the Camry also has ADAS.
They could have
That's
cruise
nice.
control on and not be paying attention.
You're not comparing FSD to the ADAS in a Camry, are you?
On the highway,
Apparently, he just did.
It's
There aren't a lot of,
they
except
don't
I said
function
he
the same
ran a
way at all.
stop sign, and they're not even close.
except for the lane changing, because the
Whether
Camry
or
won't change
not
lanes.
they do, you can still be irresponsible behind the wheel with any system you have.
Absolutely.
I wasn't even going there. I should have said a 1973 Toyota Camry. I
Fair
wasn't
enough.
even going full self-drive. I was just going an idiot behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have to say, so
Yes, sir.
I got the Hardware 3 installed, I don't know, 2 months ago, and been playing with that, and it is really cool. It's nice to see all the visualizations. It's the fact that it can see the light, and then not only that, it paints the stop line the same color as the light. And so when you're coming up to an intersection, you know whether or not it thinks it can drive right straight on through. And
If you see a stoplight and you see a green bar and the stoplight's red, you know, oh, that's my turn.
yeah, so it's just really cool to see the system evolving and getting smarter. And again, if you're given this feedback and if it's not right, you act responsibly and accordingly.
Read
And
his
if it
shirt.
is,
Read his
you
shirt.
can just let it go. Yeah, all input is error. So it is really kind of cool. And just the one little thing, like, okay, there's a stop sign and it comes to it and stops. Where if you just had normal cruise control on, it doesn't see those things. It would just blow right on through the intersection. And it's just really cool. And I hope we get to a point sometime soon where we can all be relieved of this burden of driving unless we really want to.
Yeah, I wish they would add the stop to the basic autopilot. That way, if somebody like became incapacitated and they were running down the street somehow in regular cruise control, they would just be like, "You're at the stop sign."
That would
There
be
you go.
one other little thing I want to tell you guys that I think is cool. It's just a small one. If you're stopped at a red light and the light turns green, it recognizes that and it just goes bing, bing. So even if you're not in autopilot mode, it just gives you that little warning. Because
Hey, get off your phone. Pay attention.
We've all seen this where you're the second or third car in line, the light turns green and the person in front is distracted by whatever. And like, hey, come on, go, buddy.
Reading
now
newspaper.
now
eating
the
a
car is
sandwich.
just giving you a helpful little hint to so you're not the person blocking everybody else.
Sometimes it's a little too aggressive. Like I'm actively moving my foot from the brake to the accelerator, and it's like, hurry up.
Okay. I think both sides have been heard here. Let's move on to the next thing, which is coincidentally This Week in Tesla with Mark Coughlin. Mark.
Have we got that theme music worked out yet?
Dun 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 dun. I have no idea.
So no.
What theme music would you like? This Week in
I'm
Tesla.
just pulling your
yeah.
leg. Just pulling your leg, Russell.
We
Ow.
represent the Tesla Guild, the Tesla Guild, the Tesla Guild.
You better watch those Musketeers, man.
Man. Tony's in
Showtime.
Oz
You'll be in
already.
a basement with Mark.
Well, this week we're just going to touch on 3 stories. One, we talked about this maybe about 10 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago. There was a Tesla alleged hacker that had reached out to a Tesla employee at Gigafactory, Nevada, and had offered him $1 million to upload some code into some computers. That particular employee went to his supervisors, who in turn prompted the FBI, and an investigation began. They set up a meeting with this person that was going to spend the money, and then initiated a sting to get him. He actually ran for the airport. The FBI picked him up before he got to the airport and took him into custody. This person now has pleaded guilty to the charges presented, and we no longer have to use alleged hacker. He's now an official hacker, and he's going to be sentenced shortly. So that was an interesting end to this particular story that started about 3 months ago.
I'm sorry, but how stupid do you have to be? That is like the worst attempted crime ever.
Well, it was worse than that. Remember, he started with 500 grand, and then what was his name again, Mark?
The
comic book
employee.
villain? Yeah,
Igor
no, the comic book
Kirchhoff.
villain.
Oh, yeah, he was a Russian name, like Igor something.
That was it, Igor.
Igor Hacker.
Yeah,
Igor
Igor
Hacker.
Hacker. Igor H. Hacker. So,
But
yeah.
that is scary because
It is.
one day someone's going to say, you know, I could use $1 million, and that could like cripple all the cars in the
Well,
world.
as we were saying on the Tesla show, that that leads pause to all security groups inside of automotive companies. This is something that could happen to any of them, and you're going to have your top security work on these different scenarios that could possibly happen to you. So it makes sense to start, putting actually hiring security professionals to go into different scenarios that could develop over time. And you're right. This is like a movie script, except it's real. So
Yeah.
people that are running these companies have to start thinking about these things. There was a story some time ago about Chrysler and Jeep about being hacked into those vehicles, and people being able to actually steer the vehicle while an occupant was driving. So that type of thing, obviously it hasn't been used for evil at this point, but it certainly is something that all the auto manufacturers are going to have to be ready for.
Or like a hacker could, conceivably brick every single Tesla.
That's a possibility as well. Our friend who worked for unmentioned OEMs, he's going to be busy for the next couple of years.
Well, it's not just the cars, because that's the situation we have with the whole fascination with Internet of Things, where they want, wired refrigerators and crap like that. Not to mention the way how cities are going for fully interconnected grids. And I'm just like, well, did anybody think about, hacking, if what happens? And 9 times out of 10, we develop the technology, and then after something goes terribly, horribly wrong, then we realize, oh yeah, we should have done that too.
Yeah.
Like Deepwater Horizon. So, this is going to be fun and interesting to see how this turns out. Maybe this hacker will have done you guys good, though.
Like we saw with that water plant in, what was it, Florida?
Mm-hmm. It was more than that. I think there was more than one attempt at that.
What else happened this week, Mark?
Well, another item is with this kind of Internet of Things is the Chinese have stated that they don't want people that are in the military or the government to purchase a Tesla or use a Tesla on military bases or government agencies because of the Tesla's ability to have cameras and to look at its surroundings. So this is not really a big story. It certainly companies grab this as link bait, but really when it comes to any secure facility, nobody wants a vehicle or even a person wandering around with a camera that could record different corridors or the people that are there or doors or pieces of equipment that are on the grounds. They want those securities, those sites to be secure and block people from using devices that would capture or record that type of information. So China had indicated that if a person does own a vehicle, they're going to be required to park at the for example, in a base, they'll be required to park in a safe area of the base, on the outside of the base, and then take some sort of transport into the base where the car would not be allowed to go. So again, all vehicles going forward, as George has mentioned with the Internet of Things, everything is becoming connected. Tesla seems to be just out in the forefront of all this. But as you know, other cars like GM and Ford, they're all installing these cameras. They're all starting to record. They're all connected to the internet. And this just becomes a question of how to deal with a device, whether it's a car or your cell phone, and work at a secure site. Things have to be turned off. Things have to be blocked. And certainly people and institutions are going to move in that way. Whether it's a cell phone, a car, or a laptop, all these things have to be put in a certain way in order to protect the security of those sites.
So maybe we'll see lead-walled garage buildings on military bases.
Right. Or the simple solution, just go around the car with some black duct tape and just tape over those little.
That, or you get to the security check-in and they pull your flash drive.
Yeah.
We'll see you this afternoon, Mr. Cheng.
Yeah. So
Hit the cameras with a hammer.
there you go.
Don't do that.
Smash
Yeah.
the cameras. Even better, Russell.
Although that
Even
would bring business to the Chinese factories.
And finally, we wanted to touch upon this story was released a couple weeks ago as well. Tesla is now accepting Bitcoin for partial payment of new cars. So we knew that Tesla invested in Bitcoin, and at that time they also told us that yes, they would be accepting partial payment. And in the US, that has come to light just yesterday. So the website has been updated, and now you can put in a Bitcoin payment on your non-refundable deposit. At this time, we don't know what percentage of the car you could purchase, or if it's anything beyond the initial security deposit or not. We're not really sure. But that has shown up on the website, and we will be sure to find that out over time as people purchase cars. It's interesting that Tesla they don't really tell us a lot of stuff as they roll this out. They just seem to pop it on the website, and anyone that's ordering comes across it and said, "Oh, that's new. Let me check that out." So that happened just a day or so ago, and now you can start using your Bitcoin to purchase. And Patrick had mentioned during the Tesla Life, excuse me, that that they're not going to be converting the Bitcoin. They're going to be just keeping it, depositing it. And continue to use that as I guess, an investment of sorts. They've done really well in the investment so far. They've earned money on the Bitcoin purchase. So looks like they're going to continue to do that with the payments that are made to them on Bitcoin. They'll just be holding
But Mark,
on to it.
the cars are still priced in dollars. They're not priced in Bitcoin, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. In between the two shows,
1 Bitcoin.
right? In between the two shows, somebody had accused Elon. He said they said that Elon is buying Bitcoins with new Teslas, and he replied with two laughy faces rolling on the floor, tears out the eyes.
I don't have any Bitcoin, but I can give you 3 shares of the S&P 100. Is that a good enough investment?
You got some Blockbuster stock. You could.
Right.
And
I got some
you won't be getting
GameStop.
a Tesla then, Tony.
Yep.
I think you can sell that
And,
Blockbuster on eBay.
There you go. Yeah.
Do you not
with
take stock
that,
advice
if-
from this show, especially not Tony?
It stonks, baby. I'll tell you.
Is it
stonks.
the old Blockbuster Corporation, or is it that one store in like Alaska or wherever?
It's here in Oregon. It's in Bend.
Oregon,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, Bend, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So that's it for this week. If you'd like to find out more news about Tesla, follow us at the Tesla Life on Twitter, also on Facebook, Tesla Life #1, and on YouTube, the Tesla Life, and find out what's happening throughout the week. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cogman, for bringing the best of Tesla to What Drives Us. I appreciate that. For our next story, let's go to something that I'm sure is going to be fact-filled and well illustrated from Tony Schaefer.
Okay, now before I get in on my story, I want to give a shout out to Georgia's over-the-shoulder fan. Georgia, would you
Yes.
like to introduce the fan? Because I know everybody's looking at it right now.
That one's named Brother, right?
So
Sorry,
for the audio listeners, Georgia here has a cat sitting on the couch right over her shoulder.
she's basically doing her vulture pose, right, Stopper?
Mhm.
Yeah, she's
Ready
my
for a
stalker.
close up. Yep.
Sorry.
No, every time there's a cat, it's like, okay, Zoom bomb the meeting.
Our ratings will go up. Cats are huge on the internet.
Yeah. They rule the internet.
This now qualifies as a cat video. Woohoo! All right.
Hashtag cat video.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it for the team.
There you go. Show title. It's a cat video.
I'm writing it down.
Okay, so I actually originally saw information about this on, of all places, a website that was called, what was it called? Hotcars.com. I was on Flipboard, which you all know I use Flipboard to read the news, and it aggregates from all kinds of different places. And sometimes, I was like, hotcars.com. I didn't even notice where it was from, but the article title is, "These are the countries moving the fastest to ban combustion engine cars." And so it gave a list of eight entities and their targeted end of life for selling internal combustion engine cars.
That's
So
funny.
I did some more.
It's Hot Cars making a list of banning the cars that made our planet hot.
I know. That was the other irony. Yeah. So I did a little more research. I found another article on Reuters. I found other places of people reducing the sale of internal combustion engine cars, and I thought, it's just a lot of words on paper. So what I'm going to do, what I did is I actually put together a little slide. It's not really a slideshow presentation because it's just one slide, and I'm very visual. So so this is what I did. And
Ooh.
so starting with Quebec and California. Now they're not countries, but
Big enough.
yeah, pretty much. But they did pass locally, just to themselves, a ban on new internal combustion engine cars that is going to take effect in 2035. So that's 14 years out now. And then China, they don't yet have timelines for banning internal combustion engine cars or hybrid cars, but China has pledged to be net zero in 2060. Now, is that actually going to happen? I mean, we know China has a lot of really dirty coal power plants and a huge population. It's going to be a huge push, but we also know that China put huge incentives towards electric vehicles back in 2009 to get them to where they are now, which is to be millions of electric vehicles on the road. Everything from the big luxury electric vehicles down to the little Paul wouldn't be caught dead driving one on a public street electric vehicle.
If they're paying for their own people's healthcare, I can see them reaching that.
Well, and that's speaking of the healthcare. I mean, we know the healthcare is probably getting really expensive because of all the pollution.
Exactly.
The days that you can't even see Beijing. So that's another incentive for them to crack down on internal combustion engine vehicles. So then moving down the list, Denmark has has pledged that they're going to ban all new internal combustion engine cars by 2030 and all new hybrids in 2035.
That's aggressive.
So yeah, so that means that 2035 there will be no more internal combustion engines, even the hybrids. So all EVs. And then Britain has taken it one step farther. The same with Denmark, 2030 and 2035 for internal combustion engine cars, but they've said net zero in 2050. Now, one of the reasons they have the net zero goal is because the European Union, who they recently left, also has a net zero goal. But the UE doesn't really have timetables for the electric vehicles, so they didn't have them on this list. But Britain is keeping that even after Brexit. So as you can see, the dates are getting lower. So we're getting closer to present day. Germany and Sweden both have said 2030, a ban on all new internal combustion engine cars. The second to the last one I got, this was from hotcars.com, and I put it on here just to rib some of you guys, but they actually gave kudos to Volkswagen. Because because it's country, right? But the reason they said was because Volkswagen has pledged no more internal combustion engine cars starting in 2026. That's only 5 years away.
We'll see.
Oh, well,
we'll
then
see.
You should put Tesla on there and have it at 2012.
Right? 2008. 2008.
2008,
yeah,
2007,
yeah.
2005. When did the Roadster come out?
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it's retroactive, but yes. But I mean, you have to admit, if they pull this off, and we'll have to wait till 2020, 26 or 27 to find out, it is a tectonic shift in the market, especially for them.
I can see them doing it.
So,
I hope they do it, but if we were betting, I'm gonna say I'll take the over.
yeah. Well, but even so, I mean, just see, yeah. And then, does anyone who hasn't read the article, you want to guess number one and the date?
Chevrolet tomorrow.
Yeah. Also not a country, but no, we didn't go there. Volkswagen was the only entity. Norway said 2025, 4 years from now, there will be no more internal combustion engine cars sold.
But they're already
in Norway.
taxed up the wazoo, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already
are.
above
Yeah.
50%, right? I've
They're,
been hearing
they're at
horror
over
sto-
50% now. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been
Yeah,
hearing
they're
horror
already
stories
well
about trying to
underway.
sell a gas used car in Norway to the point where they just take it to mainland Europe because
Right.
nobody wants to buy it in Norway. That they can only use it for 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Norway at this point is just waiting for the last 6 ICE cars to die.
Right.
That's-
They have Volvos. Get off the road.
Darn Torvald in his truck.
So this was just kind of a rundown on where we are right now, sort of around the world and locally, on banning internal combustion engine cars. I mean, hell, guys. 10 years ago when we started What Drives Us, I never thought we would get to a point where we would see lines in the sand of countries saying no more internal combustion engines, and even companies that are saying we're going full EV.
We were still manually backyard converting our Priuses to have plugs on them. So
Yeah.
This is awesome. Things really are changing.
Yeah.
Well, I do find
there we
it
go.
curious that China is saying it's going to hit its peak at 2030 for ICE. So it just feels like they're like, oh, well, we're going to make sure we pollute up to this amount. And then suddenly we'll drastically cut that short. So in 30 years.
I think they're probably looking at the cost tables dropping because they do have a lot of the materials you need to make batteries just right there.
I think taking into consideration the transition time. I mean, it's a juggernaut. It's going to take a long time to turn around. I would love for them to just say we're done today, but I think that would be unrealistic.
China is really putting a huge effort. I posted a link on the Facebook page, What Drives Us, about a CNBC article regarding EVs in China, and they are kicking butt. They want to be the world leader in EVs, and they're also the largest car market. So
that is actually a really good Yeah, that's the article was a video, right, Paul?
A video.
Yeah, it was a really good video. So that's facebook.com/what drives us, and look for the CNBC article.
And
It's
there's
worth watching.
companies that none of us have heard of that have sold like 1 million EVs in China.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it
That's
talks
it. I just
about
yeah.
Tesla in China and stuff. So
Yeah, I just wanted to have this discussion and how kind of
How fast?
how kind of
Enthusiastic.
enthusiastic. There we go. I can't even conjugate English now. But I mean, it kind of gets me excited to see, these countries out there saying, okay, we're done with this. We're moving on.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of batteries, though. The fact that EVs today are less than 3% of new car sales globally, and we're hitting battery constraints. So let's get some more gigafactories, terafactories.
Some battery factories. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
exafactories.
a gigafactories.
Yeah, Yoda factories.
The giggity factories. That's what we need.
So we've got Tesla and Volkswagen building tons of them, and then Nissan spun theirs off. So do we think that the rest of it's going to be filled by third parties, or all the manufacturers going to build battery plants at this point?
They're all in
I would
China.
like to think they all will. Yeah.
I think, Casey, that a number of them will continue to buy outsourced from third parties until they can't get the supply they need. And at that point, that's going to force a number of them to do their own thing.
Like they did with engines. Like they used to buy them from the Dodge brothers, and then they had to make them themselves.
Yeah, it might even be the same formulation, the same form factor, the same, chemistry. But yeah, it would be just one big bottleneck. And then imagine a contamination or an entire run that goes bad. I mean, the recall. I mean, look at the airbags, the Takata airbags. What a cluster was that? Because everybody relied on the same vendor and found out there was a flaw. I mean,
Right.
we would see this.
The second gen.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the second gen Civic Hybrid, it used the same manufacturer as the Toyota cells, and so they got the B cells, whereas Toyota was getting the A cells, and then all the 2008, 2007 Civic Hybrids had to have battery
Battle
replacements.
going on in the background.
Right, I couldn't hear anything you said, Casey. I was watching the cats.
so like a massive amount of the Civic Hybrid batteries had to be replaced because they, like you said, they were all coming from one source, like the Takata bags.
I'm sorry, I'm totally fascinated with the cats too.
See,
Yeah.
and they both just looking.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're just
So I did
battling
just
each
see an
other.
article that just popped up on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw this, but
Oh,
Oh, it's
Boo.
okay.
boo, Georgia.
so this just came up on Twitter. The state of Texas just committed to banning internal combustion engines in the year 3125. But that's a moving target. Follow
Unless
up.
they're in a
please.
pickup, then they could go on forever.
It's a
Yeah.
commitment.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's go to our next story. And Mr. Paul Guzik has some local news, I think.
Yes, a little bit of good news coming out of Colorado this week. It's actually kind of one of these public-private partnerships. The EV company that's yet to ship a vehicle called Rivian has agreed to put public charging stations in all 42 state parks of Colorado that will be open to all EV owners. And they are going to fund it, at least for the first few years, which is very cool because the Rivian truck type SUVs are great to get into the backcountry. And Colorado, of course, is known for lots of state parks, national parks, hiking, mountain biking, skiing, all that fun outdoorsy stuff. So hats off to Rivian for making that happen. They said the first station will open in July this year. And,
Just in time to use it with their cars.
Yeah.
Didn't they actually deliver a couple of the Amazon vans, and Amazon's testing them down in Southern California?
Yes, they've been seen. I
Yep,
saw
we
news
spotted
report
them on the
there.
road.
Yeah, initially they were still Rivian property, but I think
I'm not talking about
they've had the
consumer
keys now.
vehicles.
Ah, okay.
Although I guess Amazon will deliver to state parks,
Oh, that would be interesting. Here, Mr. Ranger, and
You're in your
let me use that
tent
charger.
and outside the Rivian, and they bring you your Amazon Prime package.
Right.
But
So
but
I've
it's
heard
cool.
that-
So obviously, we're talking about how we're going to go ice free by 2030 or whatever. The more charging stations that are out there to where people go, the more it's going to happen. If people are out in their regular truck and they go, oh, there's a charging station in my favorite campground. Maybe my next car will be an EV or my next truck will be an EV. So.
And an
Right up
interesting
front,
side
too.
note with Rivian is that along with those level 2s at state parks, they're going to be installing their own charging network for high-speed charging.
Yep.
So they've outlined 600 charging sites with 3,600 chargers in 3 years.
Wow.
And they will be using CCS, but it's going to be a Rivian system. So you need a Rivian to charge. Doesn't that sound like somebody else
No.
that has already done this?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait until both of them open up to everybody, because that's the way to lift all boats, is if everybody can come.
Yeah,
But-
we need the
and-
universality of charging. Yeah. Or adapters or, whatever. But yeah. But this is cool. It makes me want to go to Colorado in my Rivian.
There you go.
I'd like to go to Colorado in your Rivian. I
And
really would.
Tony, you can store the Rivian with me, so it's always here when you come to Colorado. I'll
Oh,
take care of it.
Yeah. There's
We should
something
just
wrong with the
pitch in-
odometer.
We
The
should just
odometer
pitch it in.
changes every time I pick it up.
We all keep going to visit Paul.
Yeah, got to visit him more often. Well, thank you, Paul, for that. That's super good news. And I'd like to see this in other places, in other states too, where we're putting chargers in these public parks, in these places that are accessible to anyone who might go and stay for a few hours and charge their electric vehicle and then leave.
Or if you're camping overnight, you'll have a full tank to get home,
There
That's
you
true.
go.
Yeah.
even with the level 2.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that, Paul. Let's go for our final story to Georgia.
Well, actually,
Georgia McKenzie, not the state Georgia. Sorry, that may have been ambiguous.
I think they can figure that one out. No, speaking of trucks, Green Car Reports has a kind of interesting hypothesis that as electric trucks need to be coming onto the market, that the old standbys like Ford will have an advantage over things like Rivian or, let's see, Hercules.
They could.
Because they already have the factories. Meanwhile, Tesla still has to build the Cybertruck factory in Austin, Texas. So it's kind of interesting to consider. We've talked a lot about whether or not the old guard of car manufacturing is able to pivot and capitalize on the push to clean up our transportation systems and make electric cars, and especially electric trucks. And I think our general consensus has always been, well, it's this big, massive old boat, and getting it to turn and properly focus on it is a problem. But I thought it would be interesting to see what you guys believed about that. I mean, I think it's a pretty good argument that they already have the infrastructure and they're doing the work to change that infrastructure to make EVs. But I know I have been pretty critical and said that to me, they seem to be taking an awfully long time and they've worked super hard to undermine electric vehicles at the same time. Thoughts?
They have a point. Like we've seen with Nissan that the marriage of the electric powertrain and battery can be done using the exact same process as your fossil stuff, your combustion. And then trucks are a good start because there's so much extra room to work with, and people aren't expecting them to get that good of a range or fuel economy anyway because they're square. So
Well,
on paper, yeah.
The volume, it's like how many F-150s does Ford make a year versus how many Tesla cars are made each year?
A Ford F-150 versus everything else in the world.
Yeah, they're the number one selling vehicle in the
Yes,
U.S.
they
So
have-
it's a huge
Yeah.
number.
Massive amounts of factories with supplier relationships and customization capabilities. I mean, you can order, I think there's like 30 million configurations of an F-150, and you can get it with
Wow.
900 trim levels, and like, it's crazy how big that business is. And they've figured it out how to do it if they can do that and just put electric powertrains in them. Some of these
900
startups.
900,000 per year, Paul.
How many?
900,000.
Wow.
No.
But just that
On one model.
vehicle, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of these articles paint these as this versus that and this versus the other, and I think that's
Lazy.
that oppositional framing makes for a good title, but there's way more than one car company, and there is room when we're doing a transition like this for new entrants. Some of those new entrants are going to get bought up by the legacy people because they have the technology that the legacy companies want. And some of the legacy makers have loyal customers who I'm going to buy Ford till the day I die kind of people. And that means that, hey, Ford needs to move them to electric too. And if that's the only way to get them to do it, is there, for Ford to switch so they can buy their electric F-150, great. So yeah, I let's like Kacey said earlier, let's lift all boats.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
I
gonna
was,
thank Mark for that.
yeah, I agree, Patrick. The this versus that is good clickbait, and it gets people to read the article. But certainly, as long as the big three aren't going to swoop in and tucker the rest of them,
Yeah.
like, hey, I have an up and comer, I'm going to squish you like a bug, kind of thing, referring to the Tucker cars.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why we still have crappy
mean,
headlights in this country.
and but I do feel, and something we have said many times, with established assembly lines, established dealerships, established service, established parts ordering, the infrastructure is there for them to just shift their product, and they already have everything in place. I mean,
It's theirs to lose, but they sure seem to be trying to lose it.
Yes.
I know.
Absolutely.
And like we were saying last week, we were saying that, while pushing forward in Toyota announcing a new battery electric vehicle that they're going to be coming out with, they're still lobbying the United States government for oil incentives and
Right.
ease of restrictions. And it's like you're talking literally out of both sides of your mouth.
Right. Yeah, that timeline you just showed, that all the big auto companies have lobbyists that are trying to make sure those don't ever come into being until they're ready for it.
Yeah.
Which will be never if they have the choice.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
But I think
if they can focus on it and put some effort to it, I mean, look at 2007. Apple was a computer company, and then they came out with an iPhone, completely different, new thing for them that changed their whole business. I mean, their stock went to the moon, totally changed what they were. They weren't a computer company anymore. They were Apple. So maybe Ford or GM will figure it out, and they'll pivot and change what they do. But maybe
they have the E150 they keep talking about. Hopefully that continues.
Yeah,
I was looking at the Hercules
we'll
partnership with Nissan that they talk about at the end of the article, and I thought, for me, that sounds like something an established auto manufacturer should jump on. I don't think Tesla would be connecting with any old stodgy company like that, because I think the prestige of a Tesla requires them to have their own individual, unique design. But I could totally see that working for a GM. Like, why not have somebody who's already working on e-cars to just come on in and say, hey, let's partner on this one, and that will get you to market faster.
Well, Tesla has done it in the
Like
past with
Nikola?
the Smart EV and the RAV4 EV, and what was the third one? They've done it in the past. Oh, the Mercedes A, the little micro van.
But does that make you wonder how much longer will there be a Lordstown and a Rivian? Will somebody just buy them?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's an easy way to innovate. Throw some money at it.
Or will the executives fall asleep at the wheel like Kodak did and disappear?
Or worse, like beat it home like Kodak did.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to do the new thing, even though we've invented it and are great at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
GM hasn't had much luck. They tried to partner with Nikola for the Badger, and we all know how that ended. And
Yes.
then they
Lordstown.
partnered with Lordstown, and now the same Hindenburg Research has gone after them. And there's some reason to be
coincidence.
concerned about their future as well.
Actually,
GM's not doing well.
with Lordstown, GM made a good plan because they lent them the money to purchase the plant. That means GM still owns the plant if Lordstown defaults on the payment. And
Nice.
they're a creditor and get to keep their property.
All right.
There you go. Yeah.
Smart.
But they
So
had
they
such a
can
head start
learn
with the
new
EV1.
tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Hindenburg Research is an interesting group, Patrick. You know
Who are they going to get next?
No.
No, I agree. They're very interesting. They're actually out there doing, pounding the
Their
ground,
name
hitting-
implies that anybody that research is going to blow up miserably.
They are looking for the Hindenburgs before they explode. I think
I'm definitely not defending any of their targets, but I do think it's interesting that their targets are electric vehicle companies.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good. We need to winnow out the bad actors wherever they
Mhm.
are. Absolutely.
And anytime there's a market that is going through a big hype cycle, there's going to be people that come in just trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you need people to figure out who the real players are and who the people just trying to ride the hype curve and cash out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Georgia, any wrap up, any final thoughts there? No?
No, it's just going to be the wild, wild west until we come out with either the same old big three or maybe four with Tesla or a brand new set of big three.
That's how it used to go in the past. They would flip around. That's how GM got where they are, buying them all up.
Maybe both. Who knows?
Yeah, how many things that are brands now started out as individual companies?
There you go. Well, thank you very much.
I was surprised, sorry, just going back to the CNBC story,
Yeah.
that GM sells more cars in China now than in America.
Wow.
So,
They're also one of the ones I missed with the battery manufacturing. They've got their stuff in order to get started on that.
Well, there you go. Hey, thanks again, Georgia. It's a good story and lots of good news, oddly enough, in this show.
Yay.
And cats.
And the cats. Would you move the screen so we can see what's going on with the kitties? Because
They're sitting on the other end now.
now
Oh.
they're
they
wanna
knew
fight
they were off
right
camera,
now.
so they said, well, we're not going to put on performance.
Right.
Exactly. Well, let's do some shout outs and go home. I would like to start in reverse order. Let's start with Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Well, I'm with the Waterloo Region EVA. You can follow us on Twitter at WREVA Group and see what we're up to. But posting a few videos here and there, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel there as well.
Isn't it in Canada the EVAA?
Oh.
That was already that URL is already taken, Paul. But
Did
thanks.
the man with Canadian heritage make that joke?
He did.
Okay. All right, just Kacey Green.
Hello, everybody. I've got a couple of videos for you already for this week, and I'm working on some more, particularly the icebreaker. So you can find that at youtube.com/Kacey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. Before the icebreaker comes out, I've actually got a couple of videos from my dash cam in 4K of the Model X on the racetrack when it was my first time back on the track a couple years ago. They showed up in my storage server.
Use eToro to trade
And they were
Bitcoin
pretty cool.
Who's streaming? Stop
Who's
that.
Somebody's
buying
streaming
Bitcoin,
Bitcoin.
during the show?
and other cryptocurrencies.
What? I need to get a Tesla, so I have to stock up on my Bitcoin.
You're fine.
So anyway, I'll catch you over there. Catch you on the flip side.
Thank you so much. Do follow Kacey on YouTube for more exciting videos. Mr. Guzik, what's going on in Colorado?
It's been a weird week in Colorado.
Yeah, you think.
I guess there's crazy people everywhere, but things are pretty normal in my world. Luckily, everyone I know is safe and sound.
Good to hear.
And we're still fixing cars, still selling cars. So check us out at boulderhc.com or boulderh.com.
Do that. I bought a vehicle today, not from Paul, and I felt bad about it the whole way home.
Yeah.
Oh. And
you
he
don't-
admitted it?
You don't sell two-wheelers, Paul.
That's what I'm
Don't
saying.
shake your head.
Tell him
at
it
me.
has 2 wheels.
He doesn't sell two-wheelers on purpose, but some of his cars, you never know.
Ba-dum-bum.
Some come in that way. They never leave that way. Come on.
Right, yeah, okay. That's true.
Let's go to Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello. So last week on the show, it was St. Patrick's Day. And I noted how I almost broke even on solar. And that made me go look. And I found out that actually, like 5 days before that, I was net positive. And so I wrote a whole nice little blog post about it. You can see beautiful graphs of the solar production and when the battery's charged and discharged. And anyway, so check that out at carswithcords.net. And I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Connor. Georgia?
I'm just going to remind everybody to hit like and subscribe. Don't forget to, because you lasted this long, obviously you like it, so you might as well just hit like and subscribe. Don't forget also to check out the Tesla Life. And while you're at it, subscribe to them too. You like all of this. Go to Kacey, watch the car, follow Kacey all around the parking lot. Subscribe to him. This is the content you really want.
Yeah, if you like kitty cats.
Right.
The biggest of
much
kitty
like
cats.
kitty cats. If we need to, we'll just tape a kitty cat onto Kacey and call it a day. Always a cat video. Don't forget to also get vaccinated. I got vaccinated this week. My arm totally hurts.
Nice.
It's like somebody punched me.
Mhm.
It is like somebody punched me in the arm, or like I think I got hit with a weight or something. I was bruised pretty badly for 2 weeks, but not that bad. That was very painful. But yeah, don't forget to get your vaccinations and stay safe, everybody.
Next week, Georgia, can we have an isolated cam just on the kitties?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not to replace you, to add to the.
There'll be
What if I just wear cat ears?
Yes,
Mr.
yes,
Musk might
I
like
support that completely. That or a unicorn onesie.
The unicorn onesie.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do have one.
I,
I'm not sure if I'm intrigued or not.
I'm speechless. Tony, take it away, please.
First of all, I'm going to give a shout out to JT Bear, to Wildstar 2199, Moss Musicophiles, and Skippy Rise, Ken Phillip, and Kwame. Thank you so much for recently subscribing to What Drives Us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/What Drives Us. If it weren't for you, okay, no, actually, even if you didn't subscribe, we'd still do the show. So that would have been a lie. But we're glad you're here to watch the shows, and thanks for giving us that like. We don't get anything for it other than the warmth in my cockles that you clicked that button. But it does help get us noticed. It helps our numbers go up, and it helps spread the word. So thank you so much. And like Georgia said, if you haven't yet liked and subscribed, then do so right now. What are you waiting for? And if you do want to read the news that we're reading, and we don't cover everything we see, of course, there's a lot that falls by the wayside. Make sure and find us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/What Drives Us. Here on YouTube, youtube.com/What Drives Us. And if you use Flipboard, look for the Flipboard magazine. We're on Twitter at What Drives Us. Russell is the major influencer on Instagram on What Drives Us. You can look for his Cancun pics, his beach pics, his bikini pictures, the workout videos.
Me in a bikini.
Russell doing funny dances in his kitchen on TikTok. You never know what you are going to see, and it's probably never going to be that.
False advertising.
Do we pay people if they see Russell in the bikini, or what's happening?
Reparations.
I'm just your geek. I'm here to bite the heads off of chickens for $1. So send me $1 and I'll keep it going.
Oh,
He'll
geez.
give you $1 not to do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, you can.
de-escalated.
That's actually $2.
Oh,
$2.
Thank you so much for that, Tony. I appreciate it. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our amazing theme music. And reinforce once again, check out Kacey's YouTube channel at youtube.com/Kacey Green. Go to Boulder H or boulderhc.com if you're anywhere in the Front Range to see Paul. At the Tesla Life on Twitter. And of course, Patrick's site, carswithcords.net. Georgia, you don't really have a site that I can plug. So I'm sorry. I don't.
I'll get one.
Just buy
Okay.
a camera for the kitties and call it kittycam.com.
That's it. Yeah. Post in the comments if you want dedicated kitty cam. Okay.
Down below, hit that join button, and you can get some exclusive content.
Y'all better provide.
There you
some
go.
rest.
Yeah. Me in a bikini
Dedicated.
dancing in my kit. No, wait.
Actually,
that's
more
no.
entertaining stuff like him arguing with
Way
Patrick,
more
Gotta watch the
entertaining.
kitty.
special interviews,
Right,
that sort of
right.
thing.
Maybe some kitty videos. So until then, I want to thank Patrick Connor, Kacey Green, Tony Schaefer, Mark Coughlin, Georgia McKenzie, and Paul Guzik. And of course, I want to thank each and every one of you. And I'm going to do that right now by name. No, I'm not. But thank you if you're watching or listening. Download us next week and find out what drives us.
Thank you,
It's
Michael
there.
Manring.
Cue the audio.
Manthing.com.
You got it.
Oh, is that?
I swear,
That's
Russell's going to throat punch an Apple engineer. I can just see it.
Thank you and good night. We'll see you next week.